I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, November the 27th, brought to you in part by the International Brangus Breeders Association. Brangus, nothing fake here, just real ranchers producing top quality beef. To find a breeder or a sale, visit gobrangus.com. We had a pre-holiday storm on Tuesday, and it's going to be a bad deal for people trying to travel to see their family for Thanksgiving, but big time slowdowns around the Denver area and moving all across the Midwest there, but you know, heavy snows, high winds, blizzard type conditions, bad deal. It's a bad deal for the cattle business because many of your Nebraska packing plants were forced to cancel their second shift due to the conditions. And anytime you slow down production, it's not a good deal for your cattle. We need to, you know, we're already limited in our slaughter capacity, and then we've got that plant down in Kansas. Even though we've been able to keep up and actually increase our harvest since that fire in Holcomb, Kansas there, but it's been done through long hours, speeding up the chains and working on Saturday pretty hard. But whenever you lose a second shift in multiple plants there in Nebraska, it's going to be a bad deal. Probably going to hold up our fat cattle market, but it should still hold in there about steady. Now our futures market has been pretty supportive, but your futures market, especially on live cattle, always likes a storm. I guess they're not thinking about the slowdown in production, but just the weight that's coming off those cattle as they use more of their energy to try to keep warm. But probably a lot of those plants, or at least a few of them, are going to be closed on Wednesday too, because the conditions are just going to be that bad. It's right before Thanksgiving, so you know, there won't be a big push to try to get them open since all of them will be closed for Thanksgiving anyway. But that's going to slow things down, and it's never good whenever you have to stop production of your harvest of fat cattle. I want to give a shout out to the auctions this fall. I tell you what, auction marketing is probably as healthy as it's been for decades. You know, many of us thought, and I was one of them, or I didn't want it to happen, but I thought, you know, the auctions might be going by the wayside. I remember I did a talk about that when I was in college. It was about how the auctions were kind of fading away, and we were only going to have a few big high volume auctions and then some little mom and pop Saturday deals, and that would be it. But look at the auctions, your regional auctions, your hometown sales, your small sales, your high volume sales, all of them healthy, and people making a good living in there. And I tell you what, auctions are good for a community. Brings people to town. The men go to the sale barn, the women go shopping. That's been a thing for you know, nearly 100 years. And you know, we go back to the river markets and things like that when people came in to watch their livestock sell. But the high volume sales here the last couple of weeks have just been huge. You know, Oklahoma National Stockyards, OKC West, and this week Joplin Regional Stockyards. In the past couple of weeks, it was the previous week on the two Oklahoma sales, they all had over 13,000 head of cattle for a one place sale. That is big for a brick and mortar sale, guys. I tell you what, that's a lot of cattle to be running through there. And for this week, I gotta give some credit to Joplin Regional Stockyards, the yard help out there, everybody involved. And you know, Joplin is a standalone sale there. The ownership and the Moore family there, Jackie Moore has built that business. You know, he started out as a very young man. Just having a visit with him last week about where he started out, the old Joplin Stockyards, working for a commission firm there, and he just hustled more than anybody else. That's just all there was to it. And eventually built such a huge high volume sale there. But over 13,000 head of cattle at Joplin on Monday. You wonder how they get that many through there. And it's not one of those deals where they had to sell all night long either. They get started early. They don't fool around. They were selling cattle at 5:30 in the morning on Monday, and they were done selling over 13,000 head shortly after dark. I mean, like 6:30, something like that. And that is amazing. Of course, they did have a yearling special, and a lot of those cattle were in big load lot drafts or bigger. And it's just amazing that they could sell that many cattle through a brick and mortar sale right there. And you got to give them credit. I tell you what, that is where you find out what the cattle are worth. Is when you get cattle running in between an auctioneer and the buyers that want them sitting across from each other. And I tell you what, it's just a great way to establish a price. That's what drives the demand in our feeder cattle. That's the problem with our fat cattle trade, is we don't have auctions, we don't have any competitiveness in the trade, and that's where we're struggling from, because that's our core price that we start everything else from as far as the cattle. You guys might think that it's goes up into the beef. No, your packers keep all that gravy. So if you think your cattle price starts out at the retail beef price, no, you wish. And if you think that it starts out even at your cutout values, you wish that too. No, they're keeping a bigger share than what they're entitled to of that. So where we start out, it trickles down for your yearlings and your calves and even your replacement stock and everything, is what your cash fat cattle price is, and we don't have near enough competition in there. But let's look at the board. On Tuesday, December live cattle futures up 70 cents at 120.40. So that's a pretty good price there, guys. Moving in to Thanksgiving, over $120 there. And we should have probably been able to gain a buck or two more on the fat cattle, but being a short holiday week like this, and now that those plants are going to be dark, we're dark for a shift, and probably a few of them going to be dark completely. More this week on top of the holiday. Probably going to be tough to get much more than that. February live cattle up 52 cents at 125.67. January feeder cattle down 35 at 141.62, and March down 12 cents at 142.25. Your fat cattle trade, the only thing we really had confirmed so far this week, of course it's only Monday and Tuesday is all we've seen, a few sales in Iowa, sure steady, from 117 to 118 live and 183 to 184 dressed. And I think that was something we probably could have built on if we hadn't had this stoppage due to the snowstorms. And that's just something that happens, guys. You can't blame that on anybody. You sure can't blame it on the packer. Those people have to get to work, and the road conditions are bad. It could be dangerous, and they just simply have to stop there. But at the same time that we're not harvesting those cattle, you are losing weight on the cattle that are in the yards, and it should kind of offset. And like I said, your futures market on live cattle always loves a storm, because that's what everybody's thinking out there. But have not yet seen any significant trade out in Nebraska. We will probably see some more trade up there, probably in that 117 to 118 and 183 to 184 range. The Southern Plains, it's unclear. Nobody knows whether they'll do anything before Thanksgiving on Wednesday sometime, or wait till Friday and do it there on Black Friday. But we'll just see. But we probably had a right to gain another buck or so, and it's probably going to be tough to do now. Box beef cutout values starting to get more in line with what we normally see this time of year, and starting to shrink that choice select spread. Your choice cuts on Tuesday afternoon, 231.84, down $1.40, and selects were up 38 cents at 212.29, and that has shrunk your choice select spread to under $20 for the first time in a long time, but $19.55 on your choice select spread there Tuesday afternoon. How about your feeder cattle market? Your real-time index on DV auction at 143.53, up 23 cents because we had some featured sales Not know that the market's any better, but we're starting to see smaller supplies on Tuesday because of the upcoming holiday, and a lot of your stockyards and sale barns were closed all week long. OKC West and El Reno closed all week long for the Thanksgiving holiday. Most of your other midweek sales are closed. Some of your Tuesday sales took the opportunity to have a special. A lot of your upper Midwest sales and Northern Plains are having some replacement specials, so not feeder cattle, but we saw some featured sales and lighter supplies. Guys still want them, so we did see an increase in our index value there. But hard to really call any markets because we either had smaller supplies or we were having a special or one thing or the other, but probably right in there close. It's just we've had some featured sales with some really top quality reputation consignments on Tuesday, and that's where your any raise that we saw in the market was. Some of your regular type sales that just had an average run were a little bit lower yet because of the holiday, and we won't see very many sales at all. Springfield, Missouri is the only place I even heard was having a sale on Wednesday, and so we won't have feeder flash until the weekly for the start of next week now, as everything's pretty much going to be shut down. But did see several sales stick out deals here on Tuesday that I want to talk about. Denny Rezac Livestock Commission Company there in St. Mary's, Kansas had a good sale on Tuesday. Sold several different strings of cattle. I like this big string because it gives us an idea of what something like that would be worth. 111 head of 1,028 pound steers bring 133, and we're dealing with a market that's like 116, 117, right there in Kansas. So that's a pretty good price on some big steers like that don't have too far to go. How about a big sale, kind of a special in Unionville, Missouri, north central Missouri. Look at these load lots of steers I pulled out here of the automated market reporting system, and you see how well those cattle were selling in the big strings like that. I'm glad that they're sharing the data with us like that, and we sure like to promote it as much as we can. Included in these load lots was 2 loads of those Rockin' R cattle from Lucerne, Missouri that I talk about so much. It had a load weight 853 and a load weight 862. They brought 153 1/4 and 153.60 respectively, and that is very respectful right there. But how about another market? You don't have to be doing business with us to get mentioned on the feeder flash. Green City Livestock Market, been there many times, and they always have big specials around the 4th of July and around Thanksgiving. They do not share data with us. They do not broadcast with us or anybody else for that matter. We'd sure be willing to work with them any way we could, but I'll take information any way I can get it. And Tracy Thompson here, my old buddy, she shared this with me on just on a market card there. But you can kind of pause this and look at those sales if you'd like to. But Steve Evans is the one common denominator that keeps Green City going. I tell you what, they've had different ownership in there that's changed from time to time. Steve has been an owner over the years, but always the manager there, and Steve has made those people there in the Green Hills of Missouri a lot of money just by coaching them on what the background, how to run cattle, how to raise them, and how to get the big prices, and they can sure get them at Green City Livestock Market, Green City, Missouri. One stick-out deal that's not on this card was a load of Creason cattle, steers there, weighed 941 at 147.75. And then how about go down more towards central Missouri there, Lolly Brothers Livestock Market, Macon, Missouri, longtime customer, DB Auction. They're the sale there that has big horse sales, and then they have those exotic sales that everybody talks about. But they sell cattle too, and they can sell them high, and they got the good ones. But at Lolly Brothers Livestock Market, Macon, Missouri, 65 head of steers, weight 806, 153.85. You guys have a great Thanksgiving. It's okay to go ahead and eat turkey. Eat turkey. By the time you get done with that turkey and the turkey sandwiches and the turkey casserole and the turkey surprise, you won't want it again for a whole year. So don't let people shame you into eating beef. It's all right once a year, and then you'll be sick of it until next year at that time. But we'll talk to you next week.